Hi everyone, we're back with the Summit Day 2 for the Student Game Showcase Block D. I'm Jason, SGDA's president.
I'm Megna, the marketing lead for SGDA, and we're here today with Neverhome Hall of Apathy. Yes, to start off, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name's Ethan. I go by Shadow Jingus online, and yeah, I was the dev for this game, so I did basically everything.
That is also that's really impressive. Seeing like the quality of the game as well. So I guess like since obviously you were kind of doing everything, but start from the beginning. How did the game get started, and like where did you get the idea for Neverhome from?
Yeah, so this game was really inspired by a lot of those old like RPG Maker horror games from 10 years ago. Basically anything that was popular on YouTube, something like Eve or Mad Father, The Witch's House. I've always just really liked those games, so I just want to make something similar to it.
Saw like when I was first playing this game for screen purposes, I definitely saw the influence of like Eve. Like I guess this game kind of reminds me of like I guess the sketchbook section of that
Yes,
game. I don't. Yeah.
big inspiration for sure. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
games.
Awesome. Me too. So I guess how long have you been working on this game? Since I know it's like kind of fully released out on Steam and such.
Yeah, so this game I've been working on for about 3 years now. I started in
Oh,
2020 during the pandemic, and so basically just in between, online courses, and then when we went back in person, yeah, just in between classes or whenever I had free time, I'd work a little bit on the game. It's been like a really on and off kind of project, and so in this last year, I really hunkered down and tried to make a finished product, and so I'm proud of how it ended up.
awesome. So it wasn't even for like a class or anything. It was just like a side passion project type thing.
Yeah, just kind of a hobby, really.
Awesome. It's a really good hobby.
Thank
Um,
you.
so since you did mention that you did pretty much everything on this game, so I guess to ask like what resources helped you with like I guess learning how to program with Game Maker or like learning how to make the music or the art.
Yeah, so for the programming side, I'd never worked with Game Maker before working on this game, and honestly, there's a lot of just really great like YouTube tutorials and great documentation for it. The forums are always active, so it's really easy. If I have any question or something like specific that I want to do, they'll probably have a conversation on the forums about it. So that was really helpful. Same with the music. I really only learned how to make music digitally for this game, and so I used FL Studio as the um, DAW, and it's really user friendly. I would recommend, and also there's a ton of great tutorials on that too.
Awesome. And then for art, obviously, I guess like did you have any or like did you use any resources to help like implement the art? Because obviously art is kind of more of just like a practice type of thing as well. But I guess implementing it is this like your first time implementing it into like a game specifically for like RPG Maker.
Uh,
I don't
yeah,
I don't know if
so
that yeah.
it's
Sorry.
all good. It's all good. For the art, this was my first time making like rooms and stuff. I've drawn like characters for other projects before, but this is the first time I was doing anything like this for like environments. And throughout the game, you'll notice that there's like a lot of real life like photos in the background as sort of like a collage style like aesthetic. And so for that, uh, Wikimedia Commons is like your best friend. A lot of really great royalty free assets on there. I would
Mhm.
suggest take a look at the licenses, make sure that you're crediting people properly. Uh, by the way, in the game, if you interact with that thing on the top left again, you should be able to do something new there.
Yep,
Oh yeah, it's a top hat guy.
Yeah, just press Z when you're facing him.
sorry about that. Yeah, it's my first playthrough. So.
It's all good. Yeah, this game is very like puzzle focused as well. So if you ever get like stuck on anything,
Like,
just
he did it.
There you go. Nice. But yeah, anyways, Wikimedia Commons, great place for getting some like image assets if you use anything like that. Like for example, that chess piece that's like a real chess piece, for example. Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I noticed like a lot. There's a lot of like really cool collage elements in this game too.
yeah, yeah. And then for like sound effects, I'd also suggest I think it's called just freesound.com. Again, a lot of great royalty free stuff there. Make sure to look at the licenses though. Make sure to credit
Got
appropriately. We like to credit the people who make our stuff.
yeah, awesome. Okay, so I guess like for you, since you were like the sole dev of this game, what was the most difficult part of developing Neverhome?
Um, Definitely for me, it was just staying committed to the whole thing and seeing it through to the end. Like I said, like a lot of it was like on and off development. Uh, and there's a lot of times when I thought like, I should just do something else with my time, focus more on classes, et cetera, et cetera. And so just making the effort to keep on drawing and then keep on like programming, making the music. I think that was uh, it was kind of a struggle to stay that committed to a project for so long, but I'm really glad that I did.
Yeah, 3 years is almost like a team dev cycle, so I can't imagine how it is kind of like doing everything by yourself. But I'm also impressed that you're able to do like this much in that amount of time as not as like just a side as like a kind of a side passion project. So it's really cool to see.
Heck,
I guess yeah. I guess since we're on like the development side, how has the game changed over time? Like, did you have an initial idea at the beginning, or and then it like slowly changed as it developed, or were you kind of sticking with one idea throughout and you managed to see that original idea through?
yeah, so it's kind of funny actually because when I first started like designing the game, I had like a sketchbook with all these different room ideas and designs, and there's like a whole earlier section of this game that's just completely unused now because over time I'm like, oh, I don't need this, or this can be over here, or things like that. And so over time, I just kind of dropped that whole sketchbook and just started making completely new designs. And I think that was for the better because trying to stick to my older uh, like puzzle ideas was not a good idea. Should probably just run away from that, to be honest. It's kind of a struggle to deal with.
Yeah, I get that, yeah. I guess in terms of
Get
the
out of there! Get out of there! Run! I'm sorry. Gotta get out.
oh, what's that? Oh
Gotta
yeah,
live.
leave.
My bad.
Fighting enemies, you can do it, but it's not recommended. In like most
Ye-
like survival horror games, you just kind of want to avoid combat when you can.
yeah. I think this is I think original room. And then also, do you want to like run through the story of the game real quick? Because I think since this is like a short stream, we aren't really going to get to the sections. So if you were interested in talking about it,
Yeah, for sure. So the general premise is just you play as this girl. Even in the early game, you don't even know her name. I'll just spoil it because it's in like the start page description. Her name is Granger, and she just suddenly wakes up in this alternate reality, and so it's filled with a bunch of dangers and totally mysterious. We don't know how we got there. So the game is about exploring the area, trying to figure out what happened, how you got there, meeting other people who are also trapped there, and looking for a way out.
awesome. And yeah, as I since I to disclaim, I did play through to the second part where you meet the another person. So it's really cool. And then I guess the other part of it is that what parts of the game do you feel the most proud of? In if you have any specific parts, or just like the entire game, since you are the sole developer.
Yeah, uh, it does make me just really proud to have this finished product. But definitely, like the further the game goes on, like I said, I discarded like a lot of my older ideas to make new ones, and I think that was to the game's benefit because over time I learned what works and what doesn't. And so definitely, like the latter half of the game, I think uh, is like a big improvement in almost all aspects, from the design to the art to the music. I think a lot of it's more polished, and so I think I'm proud of that as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And then I guess since I know this game is out on like Steam and Itch, but do you have any plans for a future development or like a sequel?
Um, yeah, so this one is called Neverhome Hall of Apathy. So it's the first part of like an anthology series. So each one will be its own little story. And so I've already started development on the second part as well.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I'm excited to see that. Yay.
Thank you. I'm excited to show it. There's a lot of cool stuff that I have planned for it.
Nice, nice. I guess since we're coming up, we have about 5 minutes left, but I guess like to kind of go for a more casual question. So you mentioned that this is obviously inspired by the horror RPGs from like, or how do you say, the game maker RPGs from like 10 years ago, like Eve or Mad Father. So I guess like what do you like about those specific like genre slash I guess like engine type games? Like what do you love or find like interesting about it? Because you kind of mentioned this before, but I guess like to sort of talk about it a bit more.
Yeah, so I'd say I really like the balance between story and gameplay between these sorts of games. A lot of those games were made by solo developers as well. So I really like that aspect of it just because it's like one person's vision coming to fruition. And that's something I really appreciate. And honestly, just the general atmosphere. A lot of these games aren't like super horrific. Like Eve, for example, it's more about
Yeah.
the atmosphere than it is like the actual scares. And that's just something I like. I like the vibe.
Yeah, definitely. I think like also they have very strong, I guess, like aesthetics as well.
Yes,
Like you
for
can kind
sure.
of tell that a lot of love went into the art, and I think your game too does as well. So it's awesome.
Thank you so
So I
much.
guess yeah. I guess that's kind of like most of the questions that I have sort of written out. But do you have anything else you want to talk about in terms of the game itself, or you can also use this time to shout anything out?
Yeah, sure. So the game, I know on the story pages, if you look at them, it says it takes about an hour to beat. That was from the perspective of someone who knew all the puzzles and everything already. Most of the people who I've talked to, or playtesters included, say the game takes at least like 3 hours, if not more. Um, yeah, huge shout out to all the playtesters. They're all my good friends, and they gave me some great input. Shout out to my family who had to put up with my ramblings about this game for 3 years now. Particularly like my parents and my siblings. They took the full brunt of that. So yeah, thank you for that. Follow the game's Twitter. There, I still post like new updates for the second part. If you're interested in that, please follow it. It's at neverhome_game. If you're interested in this game at all, it's on Steam right now on sale. It's 60% off. It's only $1 usually, so right now it's 39 cents. Check it out if you want. I'd really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And definitely if you wanted to drop all those links in our Discord as well. And I think we're already following you on Twitter, so we can definitely retweet if you put out a message. But yeah,
Yes, thank you.
thank you so much, Ethan, for coming on here and talking about your game. We're really excited. And if the second part does come out in the near future, please submit it to the summit again so we can see it.
Totally. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah, thank you for coming on. And that ends Showcase D. Our next event is our engineering fireside chat featuring Ian Holsteed and Anuj as the host. Yeah, so we'll see you in around 15 minutes.
See you later.